Alright guys, I welcome you. Okay, so I've decided to create a course on C and I've titled the course Learning How to Code in C. It's going to be a very interesting and interactive course. But before we delve into the course, I need to do an introduction. Okay, so um, my name is Olatunde Oloyede. My middle name has the initial J. I would want you to take a guess as to what the J stands for. I would love you to leave your comments, to leave your suggestions or your guess in the comments section below. I graduated as a mechanical engineer, but I've always loved programming because I see it as an opportunity to interact with the computer by speaking its language. Okay, so I'm currently enrolled with ALX, studying to become a software engineer. I love to teach, and that is why I decided to create this course and decided to pass on the knowledge that I've been able to acquire in C over the years. I hope you enjoy the course. You can reach me on GitHub with that link provided there, or you can send me an email. I will be sure to respond to your email. Okay, so what will be covered in this course? We will take an introduction to C. I will discuss basic programming in C, control structures in C. I will talk about the functions and modular programming. Thereafter, I will go to arrays and pointers. We'll talk about strings and string handling. I will also deal with file handling, data structure, advanced concepts, and thereafter we'll do two projects, and those two projects will show practical applications in real life. Okay, so how would this course be handled? While each of the concepts are being discussed, you'll be provided with quizzes and assignments or assessments that you need to complete. Some of those assessments would involve you going out, you performing some programs, running some programs, or writing some functions in C by applying what you'll be learning. The course will be divided into modules. So each module will discuss each of the contents that has been outlined here. Okay, so how do you get the most out of this course? To get the most out of this course, you need to keep an open mind. Thereafter, you need to practice the codes. Do not just copy and paste them. You need to practice the codes. Then always write your own codes. It's very important that you write your code because writing your code helps you to learn the syntaxes better. Then you can choose to pause the videos at the portions where pause will be indicated. Also, I may not indicate pause in some sections, but feel free to pause the videos anytime you want. Always try as much as possible to practice the assessment before you watch the next video or before the solution to the assessments is provided. Ensure that you maintain a steady routine of coding. Do not be afraid to take up a challenge. The next you need to do is practice, practice, practice. Always practice. Thereafter, consult. You can consult with me anytime you are in need by dropping your inquiries in the comment section. I'll be sure to attend to them as soon as I see them. And please take note that my approach may not always be the best. So do not limit yourselves. Do not think that my approach of attacking a problem is the best or my approach of coding is the best. No, do not limit yourself. There can be shorter ways or faster ways to get it done. Okay, so let us begin with Module 1. What do we look forward to do in Module 1? In Module 1, we will discuss an introduction to C programming. We'll see why it's important that we learn C. We'll discuss the significance of C programming in software development. Thereafter, I'll take you through how to set up the development environment, that is where you will be writing all your codes. I'll explain to you what I mean by IDE, which is an integrated development environment. I'll show you how to install the IDE we'll be selecting. I'll walk you through the installation process, how to configure your IDE so that you can code effectively with C in it. Thereafter, we'll write a basic C program. We'll discuss the anatomy of that program and we'll explain the basic structures of the program. I'll also show you how to write and compile the hello world using a different IDE that requires that you compile before you are able to run the program. Thereafter, we would then discuss the outputs and explain each part of the program. Let us begin. Why learn C? 4 reasons have been outlined here. You can go ahead and check for more reasons why we learn C. The first major reason why we learn C is its efficiency. C is known for its low-level capabilities, so it is efficient for system programming and developing applications where performance is critical. For example, if you need to write a code and you are time conscious and you want that code to perform effectively, C is your go-to. Also, C is well known for its portability. That is, you can compile C on different platforms with minimal modification, and that makes it very, very portable. Also, C has a lot of influence because almost all the other programming languages that we know over the years have been influenced by C's syntaxes and concepts. For example, during our discussion, we'll come across the term hash table. Hash table is the Python array. So the Python array uses the hash table in C as its method of operation. C is also well known because it can be embedded in various systems. C is commonly used, so it is used by various industries such as NASA, such as Apple, Google, and the rest of them. Okay, moving on now. We'll be moving on to setting up the development environment. But first, I promised to talk about an IDE. So what's an IDE? An IDE is a software suite that combines tools for writing, testing, and debugging code in one integrated environment. So it provides features like code editing, code navigation, debugging, and compiling. And what's the significance or the importance of an IDE? An IDE streamlines the code process, enhance productivity, and help you to catch error earlier in the development process. So we will be walking through the installation process for our selected IDE. So I will be choosing the VS Code. So I'll walk you through how to download and how to run the installer of the IDE VS Code. So follow me as we proceed. Alright, so we just go to Google, or you open your Chrome and then you type in VS Code in your browser and you search. Now the next thing you click on is download. Now when you click on download, you have 3 options. You have the Windows, you have the Linux, and there also you have the Mac OS. So whichever one you use, you can download. Now for those using Windows, I would advise that you choose the zip, the .zip, and then click on the 64-bit. For those using Apple too, use the .zip so that you can extract and save the program directly. So for those using Windows, if I click the .zip and I click the 64-bit, it's going to show me thanks for downloading. So I already downloaded this file already, so I don't need to download anymore. So when your download is done, this is what you should see. Okay, so look down here, my download is complete. I have VS Code. So if I double click on that, it shows me that VS Code is ready. So I need to extract. So what do? Extract to. Now this is a very tricky part. Now you notice that during your extraction process, all you need, all the files that will be needed if you run the installation like an installer, is already in the zip folder. So it means you need to create a new folder that you call VS Code, and then you extract all those files into it. So I'll go to my this PC. Okay, so in this PC I'll see local disk. So in local disk I see program files. Now in program files, if you do not already have a folder for it, all you need to do is just create a folder called VS Code. So I'll put my own, I won't put it in program files, and put it in program files 86. So I have, then all you need to do is, if you do not have this folder, just create a folder called VS Code, like this. So you just click on new folder and then you type in VS Code there. So I'm going to say extract and replace files in VS Code and say OK. Okay, so I'm going to say yes to all, and then you allow the extraction process to take place. Now the extraction process is done. All you need to do is close all you've done so far. Okay, then the next thing we need to do is to locate the file that we've extracted. So let's go there now. Alright, so I am in my folder called VS Code, and I see this is the application here called code. So what I need to do is I'll right click and then I say send to. Now I say desktop, so it creates a shortcut. Okay, so when that is done, all I need to do is go to my desktop now and run the program. So desktop, this is the program here. So I double click on it to run the program. Wait some time and then VS Code opens. Now after VS Code has opened successfully, we will need the release note will pop up. It's not necessary, you can close that. Now when VS Code opens up, we need to have a compiler, because we're trying to code in C, so we need a compiler that will help us to run, to debug, and to run whatever code we write. So all you need to do is come here and click on extensions. So when you come to extensions, you click here and click on C compiler. Now when you run C compiler, just look for C compiler from Microsoft. So when you come here, you see C compiler from Microsoft.com. Then you click install. I already installed mine, so I know I do not need to uninstall anymore. So just click on install. And when you click on install, follow the procedure for installing the compiler, and then you are done. Okay, so that's how we set up the development area and also install our compiler. Okay, so we've done, now it's time for us to configure the IDE so that we can be able to perform programming in C. Okay, so once again, we're done installing the compiler. What we need to do now is click on File and then say you save workspace as. So if you need to run any code, you must always have a workspace. So all of our codings will be done in this particular workspace. So I'll call the workspace C_course, and I will save it on my desktop so I can always have access to it, and then I click save. So I have been able to create a workspace. As you can see here, I have C_workspace. And then what do I do next? Alright, so I come here once again and click File, and I say add folder to workspace. Okay, so I'll create a folder called module 1, and then I put that on my desktop. So I say module 1. Okay, so let me create the folder first. I'll call the folder module 1. Then I click module 1. I've added a folder. It says, do you trust the authors of the files in this folder? Yes. So I've successfully added a folder called module 1 to my C_course workspace, and I create a new text file. Okay, so I'll rename the text file here. I create a new file, It's going to ask me what will be the name of the file. So let me call that module1.c. I have to use the .c extension because I'm trying to create a new C file. So module1.c, and I press enter. So it's going to ask me where I want to save the file. So you see that I am in the module1 directory or module1 folder. So I can say create file, module1.c, and then click create file. Okay, my file has been created and I am ready to start coding in C. What next do we need to do? So we have successfully configured our IDE. We've created a default directory or workspace. We've also created the directory where our C projects will be saved. So the next thing we need to do now is to write our first C program. So before we write our first C program, these are some of the things that you need to take note of. The basic structure of a C program consists of the preprocessor directives. These are commands to the compiler. And then you see in our code subsequently, you see the word include, and then I'll explain more as we move forward. Now, the main function, which will be the entry of our program where the execution is supposed to start. Then we'll see the statement, which is to define the behavior of the program, semicolon and curly braces that will be used to end the statement and also to group the code blocks. And then we'll write our text, hello world, that we want to be displayed as output. So we'll then use the printf function attached to the hello world so that that text hello world can be displayed on the screen. So printf is a function in C that helps us to display whatever text we want to display. Then we'll compile the program. Now for our VS Code, the program will be automatically compiled. However, I will also show you how we can compile and run the program. Okay, so this is the code we are trying to write. So we are going to replicate this exactly into our VS Code. So let's go there now. Okay, so now this is our VS Code, #include. What are we including? stdio.h, which is a standard input output header file. Okay, then the next thing we need to do is to provide the entry of the code. Int main is the entry of the code. The next thing we need to do is to write a curly brace, open and close curly brace, to show the group of code we are trying to write. And the next thing we want to print is to print the hello world. So we use the print function printf, and then we put our hello world in semicolon, in a quote rather. So hello world. Then at the end of our bracket, we need to put semicolon to terminate the statement. Then the function is not complete unless we return 0. So usually you return 0 to show that the program has completed. Now that we are done writing this program, all we need to do next is to run the program. Okay, so we'll come here now. Click this drop down arrow. It says debug and run. So we debug first, then we choose the first one. So let the program debug. Okay, so we've successfully debugged the program and we see that everything is fine. There are no errors here, so everything says normal, exited normally, there are no errors. So now we can run the program. Okay, so program is running, and then our output is here, hello world. So this should be double L. I write the double L and I run the program again, running, and then we'll see the output in a minute. Good, hello world. So this is our output here in the terminal, hello world. You do not need to concern yourself with every other extra text that you see. Our output was successful, hello world. Good. Now let's explain what we mean by each of the body of the code. Now the hash include stdio. This is a preprocessor that includes the standard input-output library, which provides functions like printf, scanf, and the rest for displaying output. Now our int main is the entry point of the program. Every C program must have a main function. So every C program must have the main function, int main must be attached. Now the printf hello world /n is the printf function that is used to print text to the console. So we're printing hello world followed by a new line. So the /n is a new line, meaning we want the character to move to the next line. Then return 0 is the main function returns an integer value, traditionally 0, to indicate successful execution. Alright guys, so here's an exercise and quiz for you. Your exercise is to compile and run the hello program on your own. You should also change the output message in the program and recompile and run. Then as a quiz, try to ask yourself, what is the purpose of an ID in programming and what is the output of the hello world program? I'm sure the answer to these questions are quite easy. However, here is a bonus that I promised at the start of the lecture. I promised that we are going to compile and run the program using another IDE. Now the IDE we will be using is the git bash. Now the C function or the C program programming language is already auto-installed in the git bash. However, we need to compile the program ourselves before we are able to run the program. So give me a moment to start my git bash. Okay, so after successfully, you may choose to install git bash on your own. All you need to do is go to Google and type in git bash and then you follow the installer. So I'm going to say open git bash here. Okay, so git bash is running. Now that git bash is running on my desktop. So I'm just going to create a new file. Now to create a new file using git bash, you use the vi syntax, or sorry, use the touch. So touch will create a new file. So what file do I want to create? Let me call it practice.c. So that file has been created, practice.c, and thereafter I want to write information into the practice.c. So I'll use the vi tool to write into practice.c. Now when I click on OK or enter, I see a new interface or the VI opens up practice.c for me. I press the I key on my keyboard to insert. Okay, now I'm trying to insert into my VI, into my file practice.c. We start with the hash include stdio.h. Then we start with the entry of our program, which is the int main. Then we use our curly brace open, and then what do we type? We type our printf. What are we printing? In quotes, hello world. Close the quotes, close the brackets, and terminate the statement. Then the next thing I do is I return 0 to show that the program has completed. I close my curly brace. To save and quit in VI, first press the escape key to show that I am no longer in the insert mode. Then I press :WQ and press enter. So I've been able to save the file successfully. The next thing I need to do now is I want to compile this file. So the compiler function in C is gcc global compiler. What is the file I want to compile? Practice.c. Now I want the file practice.c to have a particular output. So I put the flag -o to show that I want the compiler output of the file practice.c to be saved with a special name called practice. Now, if I do not put the special flag -o, the file will automatically be compiled to a file name called a.out. But I do not want that. I want that file practice.c to have its output written as practice. So I press enter and the compilation is successful. The next thing I need to do now to run the program is to use the dot, the backslash, and the output name, which is practice. And then give it a moment. Voila, you see the word hello world. So that's how to compile and run your C program using any other compiler that does not auto-compile your C program. Thank you very much for staying to the end of the lecture. I'll see you in the next module where we will talk about basic programming in C. Bye for now.